this problem, we are going to solve for x if x is greater than or equal to 0, less than 2 pi radian. Make a note, the answer must be in the radian form, and the answer will be in the first revolution. The equation is 2 times cosine square x plus sine x minus 1 equals 0. The equation involving two trig functions, one in the power 2, the other is in the power 1. The power 1, we cannot do anything, but what we can do is to rewrite the equation in the simpler form that we can solve by changing the power 2 form. And this problem has cosine squared. Recall the cosine square x is part of the Pythagorean identity sine square x plus cosine square x equals 1. So we're going to rewrite cosine square x as 1 minus sine square x and replace it into the equation. The equation becomes 2 times 1 minus sine square x plus the sine x minus 1 equals 0. Distribute 2 into the parentheses to get 2 minus 2 times sine square x plus sine x minus 1 equals 0. Simplify the numbers. The equation becomes negative 2 times sine square x plus sine x plus 1 equals 0. The leading coefficient is negative inside. To make it in the convenient way to solve this equation, we're going to multiply all by negative 1. So the equation becomes 2 times sine square x minus sine x minus 1 equals 0. At this point, the equation involving with one trig function, the sine x, put in the note here, we're going to let the quantity A represent sine x. So then the equation in the simple form or in the term of A is 2 times A squared minus A minus 1 equals 0. And we're going to solve for A by factoring completely. 2A times A to get 2A squared. 1 times 1 to get positive 1, but this is the negative inside, and the middle term has a coefficient negative 1. So going to be negative 1 in the back, positive 1 in the front. You can use quadratic formula if you like. So the first quantity, 2A plus 1 equals 0. Second quantity, A minus 1 equals 0 by using the zero product property. And then A is negative 1 over 2 for the first equation, A equals 1 for the second equation. Recall A is sine of the x. That means the sine x equals negative 1 over 2 and sine x equals positive 1. The sine is negative 1 over 2. The sine value negative. That means x will be in the third quadrant and the fourth quadrant. Use the unit circle to look at the angle. For the second coordinate, the value is negative 1 over 2. In the third quadrant, the angle in radian is 7 pi over 6. For the fourth quadrant, second coordinate is negative 1 over 2, and angle in radian is 11 pi over 6. That means the first one, we have two solutions, x equals 7 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. We set this aside. For the second part, the sine x equals 1. Sine x equals 1 or the second coordinate is 1. The angle is pi over 6. So for the second part, we get, the x is an angle pi over 2. So x equals pi over 2 is the second solution, the solution from the second equation. Now we have three solutions for this problem. 7 pi over 6, 11 pi over 6, and pi over 2.